What's going on, guys? It's the RPO podcast. We are back, and happy New Year's to everybody. Happy football New Year's, that is. We are back. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. We got Ray Roberts right over here. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing good. Looking good, man. Looking good.
Okay.
Different background. I see it. I like it. And we got my man Jacob right down here, our special guest for today. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing good. How you guys doing today?
I'm good. I know Jacob is excited to be on here today because we are talking offensive lineman. This is his specialty, as he told me. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how his list looks.
I said it was my favorite. I said it was my favorite to do. I don't know about specialty, but I do like me some O-line.
All right, bro. We'll see how this goes with this. But like I said, guys, we're going to do our offensive lineman talk today. We're going to talk exterior, we're going to talk interior, and there's going to be a little shakeup because, all the signings got official today. So we're going to talk about all that today and see what teams, what offensive linemen fit with each team and everything like that. But let's get right into our list right away, and that will be the top 5 offensive tackles of the 2021 NFL draft. So let's get right into it. And I'm going to start off with my man Jacob because I want to hear what you got. I want to it's just your favorite. So
yeah,
what you got with this? Let's go.
All right, so I'm gonna 5. I got Dillon Dunes, tackle from North Dakota State. Liked him a lot. Confirmed everything I thought about him at the Senior Bowl. Killed it there. Killed it at North Dakota State. Could sneak into the back end of the first round. I really like him, either a tackle or guard, but I want to see him at tackle. 4. I got Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. Really like him, really like his game. All these guys here we're talking about could all go first round. All these top 4 guys are first rounders in my book. Darrisaw is big. He's athletic. People mover. There's a lot to like there. 3, I got Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. I absolutely love watching this guy. I have a problem where I watch him and then I watch other linemen, and it's just not the same because he has center block for hands and just enjoys driving people to the ground. He's my type of lineman. 2, Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, a phenomenal prospect, great feet, great technique, great hands, powerful, can move, everything you want in a franchise tackle. And number 1, just barely edging him out, is Penei Sewell from Oregon. There's not much more I can say about Penei Sewell that hasn't been said already. I mean, he's just a phenomenal prospect that can be a franchise tackle and one of the best in the league for years to come.
Nice. So I have a few questions. First of all, you said your type of offensive lineman. Kind of elaborate on that a little bit.
All right, so I know that you're bigger, more athletic types who may not be that much strong yet are kind of what's in now. You're starting to see it every year. I mean, we took one with Andre Dillard. I love the big physical mauler types that are going to get hands on you. They're gonna move you 5 yards back, and they're going to slam you into the ground. Those tone setters who I might not be as athletic. There's certainly better athletes than Tevin Jenkins in this class, but all that slow feet and unathletic talk goes out the window when you're trying to bend around them, and it makes you eat dirt, So I really like those big physical linemen, but this class has guys that can do both of those things. It's not just the old school type of lineman. You're getting the the traditional old school powerful guys who can also move now with the top 2 guys there. So I that would be my type of guy, those physical tone setters.
Okay. And also a lot of people have Slater and Penei switch sometimes. Some people don't. Do you think there's a big difference between the two, or is it close like some people think?
They're legitimately, on my big board, a place apart. If a team wanted to take Rashawn Slater before Penei Sewell, say the Bengals, would have no problem with it because I think day one he's ready to start and ready to be really, really good because his technique is right there. He doesn't have the potential that Sewell does because Sewell's an athletic monster, but doesn't have the technique quite yet. Doesn't mean he doesn't have any technique, but it's just like an A plus versus an A minus, So they're both can't miss top 10, borderline top 5 guys, You can't go wrong with either.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get to Ray, I'd like to thank everybody that's in the chat room or watching live right now, either on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter right now. If you can, please leave a comment. If you have any questions on any offensive linemen, we have our experts here that can definitely answer your questions, or I probably can't help you as much as these guys, but I can definitely try my best. But let's get right to Ray with his top 5 offensive tackles as well. So go ahead, Ray. You're on the clock.
Well, I'm going to go 1 to 5. I'm going to do a little bit different than Jacob here. I have Penei Sewell number 1. I honestly don't think that anybody's that close to him. He's leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else at the offensive tackle position. I think that he's more athletic. Of course, if you draft him, you're drafting on upside because his technique is not, like Jacob said, not exactly where it needs to be yet. But as far as being athletic, he's a freak. He honestly, except for Trevor Lawrence, to me is the best player in the draft. So I have him number 1. Number 2, I have Christian Darrisaw. I think that he is, like Jacob said, he's big, he's athletic, he's physical. He is, if you want a guy who's a plug-and-play starter right now, maybe ahead of everybody else, to be honest with you, including Penei Sewell. But I'm a big Darrisaw fan. Well, number 3 is I have Samuel Cosme from Texas. Again, a big athletic guy who has, again, needs to get stronger physically. Absolutely needs to get a little bit stronger. But I think his athletic ability, he's, again, long arms, good athlete. He's my number 3. My number 4 is Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. Another guy, heavy hands, good run blocker. Again, not a great pass protector, but I like him as a player. I think he's going to be he may be a guy who you want to play at right tackle, but I have him as like one of my top run blocking offensive linemen. And number 5, I had Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. Again, heavy hands, a road grader is how I would describe him. Kind of like Jacob said, my kind of offensive lineman too, because I'm old school, man. I like to run the ball. So that's my top 5.
Okay. Well, I see that you don't have Rashad Slater in your top 5, and I know Jacob is like itching to say something right now. So if you can, Ray, real quick, kind of explain why you don't have him in your top 5.
Shade under 6'4", 33-inch arms. He's a guard.
All right, that's as long as you're not saying that if you're playing at tackle and judging them as a tackle, the other guys are better. That's fine. If you want to play him at guard, let him be a really good guard. I'm fine with that.
Well, that's the thing. He could be a good tackle, or he could be a great guard.
That's fair.
33-inch arms. He'll get drafted before everybody except for Sewell. But if you put him at guard, he's Zach Martin. If you put him at tackle, he is at best he's the kid from Green Bay. They're very comparable.
Right.
I'm freezing on his name right now. I have it written down here somewhere. David Batnew. I'm not going to say his name right. Batnow. I'm not going to say his name right. I'm just having fun with it. But again, so shade over 6'4", 33.5-inch arms. His arms are a little bit longer, but that's where I have him. I know there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me, but it'll be proven in 3 years when he's the best guard in football. So,
all right.
You know who my favorite tackle is? David Bakhtiari is my favorite tackle in the league. So there you go. Now you understand why I like him so much.
And I like Bakhtiari too. And for some reason, I just said his name right that time. But he is a better run player than he is a pass player. But I think again, you could take him at Slater and put him at right tackle, and he'll be fine. His technique is great. It really is. And if you play him at tackle, I don't think if you run the ball, he'll be fine. But if you want him to pass protect with 33-inch arms, I could see where he would, especially twitchy defensive ends that are really athletic. I could see him struggle with them guys, especially right off the bat. So
he kind of has to be perfect in his technique every single time, or else he's going to get beat. That's fair. It happened that way against Chase Young. You beat him most of the time, but the time his hands miss, bam, gets bull rushed. That's fair. That's fair. We can agree on that.
All right. Well, let's get right into the offensive interior offensive lineman. So, Ray, you start that one up. Let's go.
Okay, well, I have Rashawn Slater at number 1. A top 10 talent, but again, because of his lack of arm length, I'm a little worried about him at tackle. Again, Zach Martin is a comparison. I think that if you play him at guard, he's going to be a really, really good player. If you play him at tackle, he's going to struggle against more athletic defensive ends. Again, just my opinion. Number 2, I have Wyatt Davis from Ohio State. Again, not a great athlete, but a solid athlete. And as far as running the ball, this guy gets out there and he could pull. He could do some things. Again, his arms aren't extremely long either. I think his arms are like a little shade under 34 inches. But I think he's a good football player. My number 3 guy is Elijah Vera Tucker, another guy who's projected by some people as a tackle. But to me, you put him at guard, he's a plug-and-play player. If you try to put him at tackle, again, 33.5-inch arms, maybe struggle a little bit. And maybe he isn't quite 6'4" either. My number 3 guy is Josh Myers from Ohio State. Good player. Center, though, probably will play center, not guard. Number 4 is Deontay Brown from Alabama. Again, a rogue rating type of guard who's not a great athlete, but he has very good technique. And, I mean, Ohio State, they usually put out decent players. And number 5 guy is Creed Humphrey. Center, Oklahoma, was my number 1 center going into the league. Now him and Myers have evened it up a little bit, but I still like Humphreys because he has 2.5 years of really good film. So,
Ray, you have one too many Ohio State people on your list.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would think that, dude.
Yeah.
They're good though. They're good. They make good. Like sure. I was watching. Listen, man, I was watching Ohio State earlier today, and if I could draft both of those guys, if I could draft both Davis and Myers and just have them zone blocking, please.
We always talk about like the competition or competitiveness between the SEC and the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. As far as offensive and defensive line, the Big Ten can compete with anybody. It's the skill players where they kind of lose a little.
Yeah, I agree. I very much agree.
Yeah. I'm a center agree. Well, speaking of SEC versus Big Ten, we're gonna talk with Jacob, see how many he has in his list.
I think I got one SEC in here. So obviously I already had Slater as a tackle. So number 1, I'll do it from number 1 this time. I got Elijah Vera Tucker. I say it every single time I talk about Elijah Vera Tucker. He's about as solid of a first rounder as you can get. He's immediate plug and play guy, really good in the zone scheme. In a pinch, can play tackle if you want him to. He's just a little small. But hey, he's good. He's good. Number 2, I got Creed Humphrey. I don't care that he's just a center. He's a really good center. Was really, really good at Oklahoma. Dominated at the Senior Bowl. And then tested like an alien. was one of the most athletic testers since Jason Kelsey. Hint, hint. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, he's just, I know centers don't go in the first round, but if a center's going to go in the first round, it should be Creed Humphrey. Number 3, Landon Dickerson. I'm a big fan of everything but his medicals, but I'm not a doctor, so we're not going to factor that in as much. He's big, he's nasty, great run blocker, he's versatile. He could play both at center and guard, and that's why I have him a hair above number 4, Josh Myers. I really like Josh Myers. Great in that zone blocking scheme. Smart. You see him identifying the defense and pointing out alignments and basically being the heart of that Ohio State offense, and great getting to the second level. And then I got Wyatt Davis slightly behind him because there's a couple issues, I think, technically with and balance-wise he's got to figure out because he ends up on the ground a lot. But, hey, a lot of times he's bringing someone down with him. So they're all good, man.
Nice. All right, man. Well, we got our top 5 on each position on, inside, outside. Let's get to our sleepers. Some guys that, people are not talking about, people don't know much about. So I want 3 sleepers on the offensive tackle. Jacob, you first. Let's see what you got. 3 sleepers.
All right, so I'm going to, because I know our lineup, I'll give you 3. I'll skimp out on one of the later categories. Number 1, I got Spencer Brown from Northern Iowa. He is massive, long.
6'8".
He's like 6'8" and has the wingspan. I've seen multiple times where he can block 2 players just with his wingspan. It's like for any hockey fans out there watching Zdeno Chara, how he could just take up half the ice. But I am a massive fan of him. He's athletic. He can move. He's nasty. He kind of reminds me of, as an Eagles fan, watching what Jordan Mailata's become. But if like Jordan Mailata actually played football, he's big, he's athletic, he can move, he can hit. And I'm a really big fan of him. Walker Little, he hasn't played in about 2 years now, but 2 years ago he was looked at as a top prospect. He's big, he's athletic, he can move, he's long. Got to see if he can stay healthy, but a guy that was looking to be maybe a first rounder a couple years ago, you could get later. And then speaking of tackles who can move, James Hudson from Cincinnati. Walker Little's from where's he from? Hold on. Before I mess up where he's from. Stanford, I want to say. Yeah. Hudson's from Cincinnati, yeah.
Yeah.
And Senior Bowl guy, performed really well at the Senior Bowl. Moves really, really well. Like, his feet are really nice. Still has a lot to learn, but I think if you're looking at a guy that you could take mid-late rounds, he's someone that could be really nice, good developmental. I wonder if a team would like to try him at guard as well, because I feel like he has a good build for that as well. But I was impressed, especially at the Senior Bowl, and I feel like Senior Bowl guys deserve a little uptick, because of that experience and for beating out some of the best competition. So those are my 3. I'm interested to see who yours are.
Okay. Well, you want me to do mine now?
Yep.
I have number 1, Spencer Brown. Just like Jacob did. I honestly thought about putting him in my top 5 tackles.
That's fair.
I think this kid is going to be something else. So, excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. It's my phone.
We're not sponsored, or we.
Stupid fire alarm, man. I have my ringer down, but whenever it's my fire alarm at work, it actually just takes over my phone. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it's a pain. My second guy is Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame. I think, of course, he went to Notre Dame. You wouldn't think of him as a sleeper, but he is a guy who you don't hear a lot of talk about. And he played right tackle and he played left tackle at Notre Dame, and he did a very good job at both. I think he's a guy who will play in the NFL for sure. If not just right tackle, maybe, but he's going to play in the NFL. My number 3 guy is Dylan Radnews from North Dakota State, one of Jacob's top 5. I love the kid. I think, again, heavy hands for a guy who's not that big, but heavy hands, good, solid pass protector, and just a good football player. And I'm going to give you 2 more real quick, Jerome. I got Walker Little and Jackson Carman from Clemson. Since I took the time to put them down here on paper, man, I had to mention them, okay? And like Jacob said, my one one concern about Little is he does have a little bit of an injury history.
Yeah, he hasn't played in a while. You know.
Definitely. Yeah, Ray, it's funny how you talk about Liam Ethanberg because we were at the Senior Bowl and all you seen was gold domers all across the line. It was like 3 of them playing, and it was just a funny thing to see. So
we'll get into that later.
Got some guys out there, they got some guys in the draft this year.
The one position Notre Dame recruits well is offensive line and tight ends. That's they seem to get their share of talent at them 2 positions.
I feel like they're starting to get a couple of linebackers as well lately. I feel like linebackers been kind of a position for.
They have, but again, that's kind of like one of them positions, like running back. They'll have good running backs, and then there'll be a couple years they won't have any. Then, but linebackers right now, the last few years they've had some decent linebackers for sure.
Definitely. All right, let's get into our super interior linemen. So Ray, you can start us off with that. Give us your 3 interior guys.
All right. Well, my number 1 is Trey Smith from Tennessee. Oh, I'm sorry. I went to the wrong sheet. Sorry. Small school, right?
Yes, interior.
Okay. Interior.
Yeah, we're on the sleeper interiors. Yeah, I think you had the right one.
Oh, I did that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Trey Smith from Tennessee is my number 1. I got Deontay Smith from East Carolina at number 2. I got Quinn. This is a guy, Quinn Miners from Whitewater. He every time I check like different draft boards, he keeps moving up and moving up. I mean, Jerome, I'm not a fan of that. I will have I have a little system of like guys that started out the season as first like 3rd round picks. I'm never going to move them up into the 1st round. But if someone jumped in on him at the end of the 1st round, beginning of the 2nd round, it wouldn't surprise me because you hear a lot of buzz about him right now. So
definitely.
My number that's 3. You want me to give you the other 2 I have written down here? Or I'm done.
Go ahead, Ray, real quick.
All right, I got Ben Cleveland from Georgia and Royce Newman from Ole Miss.
Nice. So I'm glad that you have Quentin Myers. I think that's how you say his name.
Quentin Myers, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you have him. He was at the Senior Bowl. He's one of those guys that really stuck out to everybody. We was calling him crop top down there, so that was pretty fun thing. Jacob, who you have as your top 3 sleepers?
Cool. So he only had did I not put him on there? Oh yeah, I left him for another list. Cool. He had none of the guys I mentioned. I have number 1, David Moore from Grambling State. I am such a big fan of this guy, and I don't think he's been used right either. He's been a guard. He was a good guard. Put him at center. Let him be great. He's got a center build. He's nasty. He can move. He's like a bowling ball. Put him at center. He did a couple snaps at the Senior Bowl too. So teams are already thinking it there of the position change potentially. Speaking of position change, Robert Hainsey, his right tackle at Notre Dame, played everywhere at the Senior Bowl pretty much. I saw him at left guard. I saw him at right guard. I saw him at center. He's an experienced guy. He's smart. He's technical. He might not have the best like physical capabilities, but like he's got all those intangible things, and he's a guy that can help. Even if he's not starting day one, he can help contribute day one because of how technically ready he is. And from coming from a program like that, they say not to scout the helmet, but sometimes you're getting good guys from certain programs. Just like my number 3, Aaron Banks there. Also from Notre Dame, I absolutely fell in love with his tape. Another physical guy, loves putting people to the ground, loves pushing people 5 yards back. While trying to watch Eichenberg, I got mad because he kept taking over the film sessions. He's another. I'm pretty sure I have him top 5 for guards. So that Notre Dame, man, they produce linemen, man. And if he's there, like mid-round, take him. Scout the helmet that time. Take him.
The thing I like about Hainsey is he can play anywhere on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
He can play right tackle. He can play guard. He looks really good at the senior role, like snapping the ball at center.
Yeah, you have a guy that can play all five.
Yeah, I think he could be a very versatile guy. I mean, he'll settle into one of them positions, but right now he could be your backup at like 3 different positions right now.
It's valuable. It's very valuable, especially if you're looking at a guy in like day 3, someone that could immediately plug in if you have an injury. And again, he's not a developmental guy either, so you know that he could be reliable to a certain extent day 1. I Notre Dame, man, that was a fun watch, except for some certain someone, but very good watch, very good line, very good running back.
You can gotta say it, Jacob. They block for an average quarterback. It's okay.
He ran a lot. He ran around a lot in the backfield, and I was just take what's there.
Yeah,
take with that running back to be special though. Williams is going to be
he's very good.
Nice, but yeah, Notre Dame, man. That's this entire list right here. It's just could be Notre Dame and Bama guys.
Probably if you wanted it to be. Yeah,
could be. But we're going to get into some smaller school guys now because
I guess I can't.
You got the Alabama. We all know about those schools, but let's get into the smaller schools. So we're going to small school offensive tackles. Jacob, you start off the list with this one. Who you got for 3 small school guys?
All right, cool. So you don't have to hear me talk as much because Spencer Brown is my number 1. If you want to hear my thoughts on him, replay like 5 minutes ago. Ray already mentioned him. I have him as a tackle because I want to start him out there, but he could definitely play guard. Deontay Smith from East Carolina. I am such a big fan of this guy. He's long, he can move, and I noticed that he has a background in wrestling, which if you're going to be a lineman, I highly recommend it because I could just see it in his mannerisms, how he's like calm but still intense and patient, sizing up his opponent but still aggressive at the same time, and he just gets leverage. He has some development to do, but like I really like taking a flyer on him as soon. He's a guy that could sneak into day 2, honestly, with how good he did at the Senior Bowl. And then Senior Bowl winner again, Jalen Moore from Western Michigan. Really nice feet. Just really showed off his feet at Mobile. He's hard to get around. He has a bit more development to do than the other 2, I believe, but he showed some real good physical abilities down at Mobile.
Nice. All right, Ray, what you think?
Well, number 1 is easy. I have Spencer Brown, Northern Iowa. Again, a top prospect to me from a smaller school. Dylan Radutz, we've already spoken about, but I have him as my number 2 small school guy. I have James Hudson at number 3 from Cincinnati, a little bit of a smaller school, but again, this is a very good draft for offensive linemen. It really is. So not quite as deep as the wide receiver position, but pretty deep. And you know what? I'm going to give you 2 more anyway, Jerome, because I wrote them down. I got Jalen Moore from Western Michigan and Tommy Doyle from Miami of Ohio.
He was going to be my 4 if I were to say another one. Yeah, he's big, man. He's big.
Always breaking the rules, man. Always breaking the rules.
Yeah, man. You told me to be ready with 5 guys, so I was ready with – I actually had 6. You only gave you 5, so you're good.
You told me 3.
It was 3. It was 3, Ray. You always said 3. But let's get your 3, even though you're gonna have 5. Let's get your 3 guys.
Okay. Deontay Smith from East Carolina is my number 1. Mm-hmm. Quinn Miners again is my number 2 from Wisconsin Whitewater. David Moore from Grambling State, who I believe Jacob talked about a little bit earlier. I like him. I got Robert Jones from Middle Tennessee, and that's all I'll give you. I'm going to give you 4 this time.
Jacob, who you got?
Quinn Miners.
He's from Buffalo. I can't say his name right, so I'm good. Go ahead.
So, Quinn Miners, there, Division III represent here. Better football team than we do here at Rowan, but hey, we're getting there, man. We used to be like them. They got a good program there, man. They're like consistent D3 contenders there, and he's tough. He is tough. I mean, man was playing with a broken finger or whatever he had for the game. So, like, You gotta love him. David Moore. I already talked about David Moore earlier, so rewind that if you want to hear my thoughts. And then Coyote Awashika from Buffalo played tackle. I say that's why I smiled because
That's
because I was hoping he wasn't going to take him there.
Yeah.
Played tackle, but could easily just slide inside a guard. Fits his own blocking scheme. I mean, you see a lot of Jared Patterson's great runs. You see him leading the way. He's got to bulk up a little bit more, but he's pretty good at moving laterally, sealing off defenders. He's a later round guy that you can definitely look at to become a good run blocker in the future. You know, I liked what I saw from him.
Would you say he's good at the football?
Maybe.
Yeah, I would say. You know what? I could see him maybe moving to center. I know he played guard in college.
I can see that as well.
Moving inside and letting him play center.
Being in that light, yeah, I agree.
And you know what, Jerome? You're right. You did right. I was just checking my texts from you. You did say 3, but I already did this like 2 weeks ago, so I'm good.
Ray's always over prepared. I love it. Can't be mad at Ray, man. Can't be mad at Ray for it. Hey guys, let's get into our last session right here. This is my favorite session right here. It's called the best fit game. I'm gonna give you guys best fits, and you tell me what a player will be best fit for that team. And the first team we're going to go to is the 49ers. Now, the 49ers, I believe, just kept Trent Williams from.
Yeah, they paid him a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Re-signed him just now. So their needs might not be as big now, but I want to hear what you guys think. Ray, you could go first. Who you think the 49ers could possibly bring in there?
At tackle?
At any position on offensive line.
You know what? I don't know if they're going to want to. If they're going to, I don't know exactly what their number one needs are.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go maybe a Deontay Smith from East Carolina. I don't think they want to go like in the first 2 rounds. I think they need a quarterback. They don't seem to know that, but they need a quarterback. But
yes, they do need interior line.
I think the number one need on offense is probably wide receiver, to be honest with you. And they could use a running back. Even though they have good running backs, they have guys that are power runners. I could see them drafting like a Michael Carter out of North Carolina who can add a little spice to their running game. I think if they got like Deontay Smith or Quentin Minor, somebody could be a good player for them. So
I was going to say, hold on. I thought we were talking about offensive linemen.
No, I just think that no, I agree with you. I just think that like they need other positions before they get an offensive lineman. So that's why I gave you guys what we taken like in the second or third day.
Gotcha. All right, Jacob, let me hear what you got for the Bears.
Oh man, the Bears! Oh, I had one all prepared for the Niners. I had a big smile on my face, and you got me. Bears. There's a couple ways they could go for this one because honestly, I don't hate Bobby Massey at all. Like I think he's a serviceable right tackle, but if I'm looking at it, if Christian Darrisaw is there for them at their pick, if he's able to fall to them, I feel like he could be great there as their left tackle. But if not, Tevin Jenkins could be great there as well. One of those two. I feel like if they can't get themselves a quarterback, that getting an offensive lineman, a standout offensive lineman, is probably the way they should go because most likely that's going to be best pick available with how talented this class is.
Definitely. All right, Ray, I got you with the Bengals. They need help all across that offensive line and protect that franchise quarterback. Who's the best fit for them, Ray?
You know what? I would go Penei Sewell if they can. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't step away from him to be honest with you. I would go Darrisaw also. I would go Penei Sewell. If they have an early pick, let's just get it done and end the debate, man.
Yeah. Why not both? They need him. Why not both?
You can't get both of them though.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to trade. They're gonna have to trade in back in the first round or something.
Okay.
They need offensive line no matter what. So I definitely agree. Jacob, we got you with the Cardinals. Who you got for them?
So the Cardinals just make a big splash today. So that normally I'd say center here, but seeing as that can't happen now, if my thing will load, that'd be nice. 1 second. 1 second. I think Wyatt Davis could be good there because from what I've seen with Davis is that he might be the best pass protecting guard in this draft. The only problem is I don't know if he will be there. If he will be there at their second pick, if he is, definitely take him. But that's a tough thing with them. They're in such a weird position, and I don't know if they necessarily need a tackle. But at 16, someone like Sam Cosmi could be good there as well. Sam Cosmi could be good there as well. And put him at right tackle, let him bulk up a bit, but he's mobile enough to where you could have two good pass protectors on both sides, which would be big in their sort of air raid system that they run. So I'm either one of those two. If they're lucky, somehow Wyatt Davis falls to them in the second, and then hey, there you go. Keep beefing up because I think that's the big thing. They're trying to make a push this year. They're trying to absolutely make a push this year.
They really are. They getting some offensive weapons on that team, so we'll see if they can draft some offensive linemen to help shore up that line as well. So, Ray, I'm gonna get you with the LA Chargers. Now they just made a couple of signings on the offensive line as well, but who you think fits for them?
I don't know exactly who they signed. I've not been updated on everybody signed. I think again, I would think interior lineman for them also. I would probably go like a Landon Dickerson or a Creed Humphrey in the second or third round if they can. I think that both of them guys could be there in the second round. I do. I think Dickerson more likely to be there in the second round because of the injuries concerned. But either one of those guys could definitely help their run game. They're both good football players. I like both of them. So I think they could help the Chargers. I think the Chargers need to focus on running the ball, protecting their franchise quarterback. And I'm a big Herbert fan. So I mean I look for the kid to do a lot of good things. So
definitely. All right, Jacob, we got you with the Indianapolis Colts. Their offensive lineman Anthony
Costanzo just retired. Yeah, this one's easy. This is very easy. Liam Eichenberg. Liam Eichenberg is a 100% perfect fit. Power type of system, can join back up with his former teammate, which is crazy to think. And Quentin Nelson, it's crazy to think that Eichenberg was around in South Bend for that long, that he played with Quentin Nelson for a year. They were with each other for a year. He's a guy that I think is going to be better running the ball, like in run protection than pass protection, because he doesn't have the foot speed, but he's kind of fits that mold of the Notre Dame lineman. So put him next to Nelson, have him running the ball. They just re-signed Mack, so it looks like they're going to try running the ball a lot with all three of them there, and just keep him in state. I'm a big keep him in state type of guy. So I feel like I don't know if he's a first round guy, but honestly, they might be best taking him in the first round because he could probably start immediately. He might only be a B plus starter, but you got to protect Carson Wentz right now, man. A B plus starter is better than nothing right now. Get an immediate guy.
Okay, well, we'll say, guys, I promise you I didn't do this on purpose, but Ray, you got the Dolphins.
That's easy. Either Creed, again, I'm going to say Creed Humphrey or like that's it. I want Creed Humphrey. I want him in the second round. I want him. I think their tackles are okay. Their guards are okay. They just lost their center. He signed with New England. Now there's talk about them signing a center more from New England, which is kind of weird. You're going to replace one former Patriot with another former Patriot. But I like Creed Humphrey. I wanted him for a couple years. He's the guy for me.
Definitely. All right, Jacob, you got the Jaguars.
I always feel like I make this pick in every mock draft, so I'm gonna do it here. I feel like Dylan Radoon to be perfect here. I think he's a guy that could play both left tackle and guard, and I know that they franchise tagged Cam Robinson, which kind of threw me for a loop. I'm like, oh, so maybe they'll need a left tackle. Radoon could play left guard and eat that special magic NFL peanut butter sandwiches and bulk up and then play left tackle the next year. So I feel like Dylan Radoon would be perfect there, especially with them having multiple first round picks there.
I agree. All right. Also, and Ray, you got the Detroit Lions.
Wow, that's a tough one. I think they could use players all over. They could use somebody all over the offensive line. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go Samuel Cosme. Again, he could sit in and play right tackle for them. I'm a big fan of Cosme. I had him as my number 3 guy. I really like Cosme. I like his length. He's a pretty solid athlete. I think Jacob had said earlier he does need to get a little bit stronger up, like in his upper body. He does, but I think he can step right in there and do a pretty good job for them.
He still finishes though too. That's the crazy part.
He's got good technique.
Yeah.
He uses his body well, but he uses his length. He uses leverage well.
Mm-hmm.
Put on 10 pounds of muscle. I think he can be a dominant player then.
It's just good that he's not like one of the big kind of finesse type of tackles. Like he still wants to hurt people out there, put them to the ground. So he gets the weight, man.
Yeah, exactly.
He could be like a Taylor Lewan type of guy.
Agreed. I actually had him. That was my player. I thought he most reminded me of. Just again needs to get a little bit stronger up in his upper body. Has nice heavy hands too for a guy who's only like 310, 315.
Mm-hmm. I liked him from what I saw last night. Like I feel bad for the people in my dorm because I got around to him at like 3 last night and he was just throwing people to the ground and I got a little excited.
I like offensive linemen too, but not that excited though.
Those is offensive linemen.
I do.
Well, Jacob, let's get somebody to protect Mr. Matthew Stafford for the Rams. You just got the new quarterback. Who's protecting the man?
So I have a very interesting pick here. I'm gonna go Trey Smith here. So hear me out for a second. Trey Smith, 2018, I believe it was actually the left tackle there at Tennessee, and he looked pretty good for being, relatively young. I know he played some snaps there at the Senior Bowl as well, so he obviously is more developmental in general, whether it's at guard or at tackle. So why not try and take your Whitworth replacement for the future? Eddie can learn under him as well. And if that doesn't work out, you just have a good guard. you just have a good, powerful guard there.
Definitely. All right, Ray, you got the Steelers. I think Villanueva's not on the team anymore. So who you got helping them out there?
I'm gonna go again like a Wyatt Davis, a guy you can play a guard and give you some good reps there. I really like him there. So
okay, awesome. Jacob, we got you with the football team. Who you got?
Football team. This is a tough one because Washington's line's actually a lot better than I thought it was. Like I remember I mocked them Jalen Mayfield on my one mock, not even realizing, oh wait a second, Morgan Moses is really good as well. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give them. What am I gonna give them? Honestly, let me give them. Since no one's mentioned them yet, let me give them Alex Leatherwood. I think someone that's got good experience there, can play both at left tackle, could play at guard. I go back and forth on him, but he's still good. Like he's still experienced and definitely one of the leaders of Alabama, so I feel like he would be Rivera's a big culture guy, and he'd be a guy that would fit right in on that. As a guy that just loves football.
All right. And Ray, you're going to wrap us up with the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to say Oakland. The Las Vegas Raiders, they have a lot of holes on their offensive line right now. Trading one player away, not re-signing some guys. Who you got for the Raiders?
I'm going to go Josh Myers from Ohio State. Again, they just lost their center. Going to go a guy who I think is a pretty good player. Again, a heavy-handed type guy. I don't understand exactly what the Las Vegas Raiders are doing with their offensive line right now. I just don't. I mean, I defend John Gruden too much, I think, to a lot of people, and I'm starting to wonder myself every once in a while, to be honest with you.
Definitely. Sorry, my phone's going crazy.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, everybody's phone's going crazy right now. But no, definitely. They trading players around, and we'll see what they do. They must have a plan in place because may have been kind of weird lately with his what he's been doing as a GM so far for the Oakland Raiders. I mean, I know we're all rooting for him, but some questionable decisions so far. So, but that's for another podcast. We are done for today, guys. So thank you guys so much for checking us out. Next week, we finally get into the defense, my favorite side of the ball, the dark side. Let's go. I'm so ready for that. So if you guys like what you just seen right here, definitely put a comment in the comment section at the bottom. Or if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We definitely love if you could do that. Also, check us out on all our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. We're on all of it. TikTok, we're even on TikTok, unfortunately. But we are on TikTok as well. So follow us, find us on Inside the Hatches. Also, make sure you're checking out our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or anywhere you can find your podcast. We are on there, especially for our player interviews. We interviewed a lot of great players. A player that we interviewed last week was Nico Collins, wide receiver from Michigan, and we got plenty of other athletes that are coming out and that we interviewing. So please check that out Inside the Hatches at all your favorite podcast spots. And also thank you guys for coming in. Make sure you check us out again next week. We on every week on Wednesday nights at 7:00. And in 2 weeks, we'll have our 2.0 mock draft. So make sure you go check that out as well. So next week, we start off on the defensive line. And then right after that, we'll do the mock draft. So make sure you check us out the next 2 weeks. It's very exciting stuff, guys. So I'd like to thank my co-host over here, Ray Roberts, and a special guest today, Jacob. I'm Jerome Jones. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. And we'll see you again next week. You have a good day. Stay safe out there and enjoy your football.